Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Omega figure, which is one of the better looking figures that McFarlane has released to date, proportionally speaking, and even the paint job is pretty dang cool. So there's a lot to talk about with this guy because there's a lot of good stuff. There's also a few things that are really bad, and of course we're going to do that, talk about that, because that's what we do in a review. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. And this guy stands just over 7 inches, not counting his little ear tips, which makes him pretty close to 18 centimeters. Before we get into the rest of the review, let's do a question of the day. How do you guys feel about all the Batman figures that McFarlane's releasing? It's a lot, and there are a lot of new sculpts, which is impressive. No matter how you slice it, that's an impressive thing. However, I have the sense that most people are tired of the Batman figures and they want some more things. So let me know how you feel about that in the comment section. Okay, so let's talk about this guy. Other than a short torso, this is one of the best proportioned superhero figures we've seen in a long time. Now, his legs are a bit too big, and that's because of the short torso and the short upper body in general, actually. I think the whole thing needs to be stretched out just a bit, but still we have, if you look at the legs themselves, it's very nicely proportioned. And then if you look at the torso itself, not counting the legs, it's very nicely proportioned. So we got two halves of a really nice figure here. They're just not necessarily the same figure. I still do think that most people will be able to get by with that because at least it looks good overall. It's not bad. It's not like tiny arms and everything else is big. So that's pretty good. The sculpt work on here is really nice. You can see we have the texture on all the gray parts, and then of course we do have the sculpted line work on the gray up here. It's not sculpted anywhere else, so I'm guessing that's accurate. That seems like it might be accurate. It's hard to say from the drawing, so I guess that's a little artistic interpretation. But it does look pretty good overall. The paints are clean enough. I like it. On the face, it's really clean. That's good. That's important. The eyes are nice and white. The red lines are exactly where they need to be. More or less, so not quite exactly, but it's really, really well done. They did a good job with this. Yeah, you get some spots here where the red lines don't quite match. If we can focus. But you know what, that's gonna happen. So that's pretty good. I like it. I don't think there's much they could have done other than like throw a wash on there or something. So it's good. His hands are a little small and stumpy, which also goes a long way to making the upper body look too small, but it's not bad at all. So I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10 for the aesthetic. They did a good job. Oh, the head's also a little bit small. A little bit. Like short. He is supposed to have a relatively round head, but even if you look at this, that head's a lot bigger relative to the body than the figure is. So it's like they're not quite getting it right on any of the releases. Some are too big, some are too small. But this one does look good overall. Okay, as far as accessories go, we get the gun holding hand and the open hand that come on in the package. And then we also get 2 fist hands. We get the collector card, and we get the display stand. That is it. That is it. So I'm going to go 5 out of 10 for accessories. I don't know what the deal is with the gun holding hands, but he does have one. Okay, let's talk about the articulation. The head is on a double ball peg, which is the way to do that. He can look up nicely. He can look down nicely. He can lean to the side. He can look to the side. He can lean and look to the side. This is exactly the kind of neck articulation you want to have on all the figures that can possibly manage it. It works the best. It looks the best. Hands down. It's not really a matter of opinion. It is a functional thing. You can see that it works better, and it doesn't have any reason. Like, the gapping isn't any more just because there's a tiny gap there. That's no worse than seeing a whole big hinge like on a Marvel Legends or something. So it is functional. You can look up. You can look down. It's just the best, objectively. Arms are on a ball peg. This is one of the better examples. Most of them don't really serve a purpose. These have a decent amount of range in there, so that's pretty good. I like that. If you're going to do it, it should work, and it does. You can raise the arms up better than horizontal, so that's nice. You get your full rotation. That's good. Bicep swivel is fine. Double jointed elbow does work. It's not a good looking joint. The way they keep hollowing things out is weird. You don't need to hollow out the tricep or the bottom of the forearm to make that joint work. So I don't know why they're doing that. They also have the joint really far up on the bicep, which is okay. I guess that's fine. You can get away from doing that by having, well, it doesn't matter. It works, it's fine. The wrists are on ball hinges, which are appropriately sized, so you get good range. I don't know how much you're going to need range. These hands pop off way too easily. But the wrist joints are fine, so they're good size. Torso joint, let's see if it works. Does he lean forward? A little? Like so little that I have to say it, but he doesn't really lean forward. Does he lean back? Yes, he leans back all the way, and they didn't continue the sculpt. Oh, okay. That's a strange choice. There's plenty of room in there, but they just didn't continue the sculpt. Like if you close the torso, it would touch, but you can see it only touches once it's down. So those red lines that would have been in there wouldn't have been a problem. And they even still could have sat him back just a little bit farther, so... Yep, that's a shame. Side to side is really nice. Full rotation, that's good. Full rotation down here, also good. Bottom part leans nicely, forward and back, side to side. Lower torso joint works really well. I think they could have made it work even better if they made it a little bit shorter. I don't think this diaper needed to be up quite as high. It's pretty high on there. So yeah, if they brought that down a little bit, it would have made the torso extended, looked a little bit better, and functioned a little bit better. Bringing the legs out to the side works pretty well, except his diaper does extend to the side, but that's still pretty dang good. That's way better than 45. Going forward, it's better than most. That's nice, and this is a good example of the thigh being thicker than the calf. That's really good. I like that. Pretty good range, good sculpt, good going back. There is a little bit of a thigh swivel, but virtually none. Double jointed knee is pretty good, looks nice. He does have really big legs compared to the upper body, but they are well sculpted and well proportioned, at least for themselves. The ankles are jacked. Here's the problem with the ankle. They cut the shin on the sides, cut the lower leg on the sides, and on the front, the plastic comes all the way down, so you can't bring that foot forward. You're not supposed to have that big gap on either end of the ball hinge. That makes it not function. Just don't use a ball hinge if you don't have a sculpt that works for it, because this doesn't let the foot go forward at all. It barely lets the foot go backward. All it does is let you rotate all the way around to the side, which is virtually useless. So that's not good. Also, the feet are really loose on those ball pegs. Very bad. Toe hinge is nice-ish. It's too far back on the foot, but it's there. It's not bad. So articulation on this guy is not great. It's not bad. There are some things that are better than average for McFarlane. I'm not too upset about it. I wish he could lean forward more at the torso, but everything else works pretty well. Ankles could be better. It's still not bad. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's not bad, but the ankles being screwed up is a big problem because if he can't stand, he can't be posed properly. And if he can't be posed at all because the ankles don't work, that ruins just about the rest of the articulation. So that kind of blows. But still, that's a decent batch overall. Final verdict on this guy, I love the way it looks. I don't like the way it's engineered in some places, but all in all, it's not too bad. It's one of McFarlane's stronger releases as a whole. I'm going to give it a final verdict of 8 out of 10. It looks good. It will pose well enough if you can get away from those ankles. People with X-Acto knives and a little bit of skill might be able to trim that up a little bit, but do that at your own risk. Not a bad release. I would recommend it if it was on your list, and I wouldn't say you're going to be too disappointed. If it wasn't on your list, then you might still consider it because it's pretty cool looking, but don't expect to be wowed by the engineering. There it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, and if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on the channel, so make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.